Hi there. I hope that you all are having a great night. I wish that I could be there with you, enjoying the evening, but maybe someday. We'll see. For those of you that don't know me, hello. I am Claire Fowler. I would love to get to know you someday. Let's see. I'm the vice president of ODR.com. I work at Mediate.com, International Women Peacekeeper of the Year, which was so exciting. And friends with some of the incredible organizers that are putting this together. So thank you so much for allowing me to speak. And again, hopefully someday this could be in person. Would love to get to know all of you. So what we get to talk about tonight is how everybody wins. And I love this topic. This is going to be really hard to keep it short. I mean, this is such a great prompt. I would love to go on for another 8 or 10 hours if you'd let me, maybe? Huh? No, okay, just kidding. So I want to tell you a quick story about, I have been going to the gym in the morning and I have been lifting weights. And there was this 30-pound weight and I was trying to lift it, but I start out like we all do, right? You start out with like 10 and then 15. I thought there's no way I'll never get to 30. But you know what? Over time, I've been trying to eat healthier and build up and go to fatigue and do all of the things that they recommend. And then one day, I did it. I lifted this 30-pound weight. And afterwards, okay, I didn't feel amazing, right? I was a little sore, but mentally, I felt really good. So I started looking into this. And there's this interesting phenomenon when you're exercising like that, and you don't think that you can do something. And then you push yourself past that point and you accomplish something that you thought was going to be impossible and you survive, right? I didn't explode. I lifted the 30-pound weight and I survived and I was able to do it. And what happened was my brain produced this chemical that is only produced in that situation. It's called a myokine. It's a fun word, myokine. And this is a hope molecule. And that's literally what it does, is it creates hope. So the next time that I go through a situation like that, where I'm like, oh, there is no way I'd be able to lift that 30-pound weight, my brain says, actually, Claire, you did. You went through something that you thought was incredibly hard. You didn't think that you would be able to survive. And then you made it through. So this is this lovely molecule. It's called hope molecule. It's a myokine. And I'm telling you this story because this is what you are doing for every one of your clients, right? They are coming to that mediation not because they figured it out, not because they know the answer or because they think they can do this on their own. They are coming to that mediation. They're coming to you for help because they can't do it on their own and they've lost hope, right? They're at this point where they are completely hopeless. But then with your help, with your guidance, with you walking them through the process, they're facing something that they thought was impossible. And at the end, they don't explode, right? They make it through and they realize that they can do hard things, that having that difficult conversation or apologizing or forgiving the other person or letting something go that they've been holding on to for the last year, that they can do that. And that's one of the hardest things mentally that I think one can imagine. And then afterwards, their body produces these myokines, right? These lovely hope molecules. And I mention this because in a time where we're talking a lot about mental health and mental health is suffering around the world, what better calling can you have for your life than to be in a profession where you are providing hope for another person, right? Where they're coming into situations saying, there's no way I'm going to be able to survive this. There's no way I'd be able to talk to this person. We're completely different. We don't get along. We don't see eye to eye. We will never resolve this. And then you bring them hope and you show them you can do hard things. Another thing that you provide as you help clients to walk through this is you're providing a map. It sounds cheesy, but just go with me for a second here. A lot of times when I'm sitting down with clients, they are completely bewildered. They say, well, I don't even know how we got here. Like, a couple days ago, we were friends. Everything was fine. And then suddenly, I feel like somebody just picked me up and dropped me into the middle of a maze. And I have no idea what's going on. I don't know why she's so upset. I don't know why I'm so upset. I don't know how we got here. I don't even understand where I am now. And I for sure do not know how to get out of this. And it's like they're sitting in the middle of a maze. And then you come in and you provide a map, right? You can help them to understand, oh, this was the start. She said this, or you said this, and the other person took it that way, and that betrayed one of their core interests. And so that's how we got here. And as far as where we are now, we have escalated this much in the process. And so you're giving them a little bit of peace, right? You are giving them a little bit of control over the situation. Instead of the conflict controlling them, you're giving them the map. So they know the start point now. They understand where they're at in the middle of that maze. But then what's so cool is because you know the process, you can help for them to figure out the way out, right? You're showing them the map. You're showing them, this is what we have to do. I need you to be brave enough to articulate your interests. And I also need you to be patient enough to listen to the other person's interests. And then together, we're going to be able to develop some kind of an agreement, right? We're going to figure this out together. And now you're showing them there's a way out of here. And what's so beautiful about that is by teaching them that process, yes, you're going to help them to resolve this conflict. But when I say everybody wins, it's their future self that's winning as well, because you're teaching them these incredible skills that are going to support them for the rest of their lives, right? Because now the next time they're in a conflict and they say, oh, I have no idea how we got here, they can pause because you've already shown them the map, right? The map doesn't change. The map still looks like, okay, let's look at the past. Let's try to understand what it was that we said or that we did that upset the other person or that upset me so much. What was the underlying value there that feels betrayed? What hope or what fear or what dream was not addressed? And we can start there, figure out the interest, figure out why it escalated so I know where we are now. And then they already know the process for getting out of this maze, right? They both have to share their interests, come up with a solution together. It's beautiful, right? This is a beautiful process that you are teaching them. And I remember when I first heard about this process, right? My first basic mediation training, it was a long time ago. I'm going to be honest. It was like 20 years ago. And I thought, oh, okay, that all sounds lovely, but it's a little cheesy, right? I mean, these are such cutesy little skills. They can't really be that powerful. And every mediation that I do, I feel like I buy into it even more because I understand even more how powerful these are, how much this is what people need in order to work through the conflicts in their lives. I do workplace mediation, so I'm super lucky because what that means is I get to come back and meet with clients again and again. So we resolve the initial conflict. I teach them some of these skills, all the wonderful skills that you all know. But then I get to come back. We do check-ins, like 4-week and 8-week check-ins. And in the moment when we're first resolving the conflict, right, people are still so worked up. Their identity is still, I'm a victim or I'm a dragon, and they're so worked up in that conflict. And it takes a while, right, to unravel all of that and remember your true identity and remember, actually, I can get along with this person and I don't have to be angry with them anymore. It takes a little while. So it's usually about the 4-week check-in where I come back into the office and it's completely different. And I hope that you get to have this experience someday. Maybe you'll do workplace mediation. Maybe you'll do family where you get to check in with families weeks later. And once this conflict has resolved, but more than that, once these hope molecules have started to sink in, once they understand the map, so they've started to figure out how to get out of future conflicts, that's when it's so much fun. Because people are completely different, right? You walk into an office in the beginning, it's like, oh, I don't want to be here. Let me get out as fast as possible. There's a reason you're paying me because I would not do this for fun. And then you come back weeks later and people are laughing with each other and they're bringing up more ideas in meetings and they're stopping by the desk to say hi and maybe talking a little bit longer about their weekend. And it's so enjoyable to realize that this profession that we have dedicated our life to, that it actually works, right? What a great concept that as we are teaching people these skills, to get out of conflict, it really is changing lives, right? And what a neat thing that we're doing. You're helping them to see conflict differently, but you're also helping them to see themselves differently. That I'm not a victim, that I'm not a dragon, but I'm just a really cool person who's got some great skills now. And as we're saying, everybody wins. That's not just because the clients win, it's because you win as well. Let me explain that one. So I did a mediation a few years ago. Gosh, it was like 10 years ago at this point. But it really stuck with me because I had a pretty strong reaction to that. That's a nice way of saying I was not doing a good job. I did not do a great job as a mediator in this one. There was a boss. He was a jerk, and he had these employees under him, and all of these women had multiple PhDs, right? They had multiple doctorate degrees. They were the top of their profession. And they were telling me the story about one woman sent him an email saying, oh my gosh, we have to get these codes inputted into the server in the next 5 minutes, or we're going to see a meltdown over here, right? Incredibly time sensitive, right? Very urgent. And she knew because she's the top of her class. She knew what she was talking about. So she sends out this email and says, help, we need to get these codes in immediately. He receives the email. And this is very typical behavior. They were just using this as an example. He receives the email. He takes the time to print it out, pull out his red pen, and starts marking up all of the typos that he's seeing because she wasn't worried about typos, right? This was an urgent situation. She had to get it in front of him immediately. But he circled every typo with a red pen, called over his assistant to walk over this printed email, send it back to her and say, I'll read it when it's worth my time. What? So I said, okay, clearly they are looking for a certain type of a leader, and you see yourself as a very certain type of a leader. Help me to understand this. And so one woman said, yes, that's it exactly. I feel like we're seeds in a garden, and I'm looking for a leader that every now and then can just come by and give us a little bit of water or a little bit of fertilizer. But we are the ones with the potential. And once we have that right environment, we are going to bloom. Oh, it's beautiful, right? Another woman said, I see it as we have trained for years and we're part of a symphony. And we just need a leader who can conduct us and say, now you can come in. Now it's time for you to quiet down. But we're the ones who are playing, right? We're the ones who are doing our parts. And I said, oh, again, beautiful. And then I asked him, I said, now help me to understand, how do you picture yourself as a leader? And he said, well, I see myself as we're in the middle of a war and I've got my war paint on and I'm in the helicopter and I jump out and I pull out my machetes and I'm there to tackle anything that gets in our way. He said, I think we might see the difference here, right? Different style of leadership as opposed to what people are actually looking for. And I should have been able to support everyone there, right? To support him, but also to support the employees. And it was very hard. So after that mediation, I had to pause and step back and say, okay, what's going on with me? Why am I having such a strong reaction here? Because this is my job, right? As a mediator, you're supposed to put yourself on the shelf and just be completely present with your clients. But I couldn't. And so I had to do some work. I had to go talk to some people and figure out times where I had felt dismissed or I had felt bullied and I hadn't stood up for myself. And so I was projecting all of that on these clients and I was projecting my frustration on this guy. And I had to do some severe soul searching so that I could come to the next mediation a little bit better prepared, right? So that I could be the impartial or omnipartial neutral that I was supposed to be. But you know what? It really helped me to grow. It helped me to become a much better person. And so when I say that everybody wins in mediation, even the mediator. That's what I'm talking about. The best mediators that you see have been willing to do this work where they hold a mirror up to themselves and they see the rough edges and they do the work to polish them off. And this is hard, I'm not going to lie, because let's face it, we all have stuff, right? We all have a lot of stuff that we're working on. But you're drawn to this profession because there are some amazing characteristics that you bring, and there are still some that you're working on. So as an example, I see a lot of people drawn to this profession who are quiet and gentle, and they're just amazing listeners, and it's so beautiful. Mediation is also going to demand that you learn how to become incredibly brave and say the hard things that might not come naturally to you. And for those of you who are naturally brave and you're able to say the tough things, mediation is going to require you to develop patience and tenderness and those good listening skills. And that's the way that we win, is because this process helps our clients to become incredible people. But you know what? It also helps you to become even more incredible than you even are. I'm assuming you're incredible because most people are not drawn to this profession because they want the power and the fame and the riches. Nah, sorry. Most people are drawn to this profession because they just sincerely want to help. And so for that, thank you. You are exactly what this world needs right now. It needs those myokines that you can create in your clients. We are living in a world that needs hope molecules. We are living in a world that needs a map. And we are living in a world where we want our leaders, our mediators, to be willing to hold up a mirror to themselves and say, I'm an incredible person, but I can become incredibler. I am willing to look at what I have to work on and file off some of the rough edges, because that's going to make me an even stronger mediator for my clients. So with that being said, I just want to say thank you so much for being out there changing people's lives, including your own. We might not always get the power and the fame and the riches, but you know what we are getting? We are getting the gratitude of our clients, and we are winning at becoming even stronger mediators. So with that being said, thank you. Cannot wait to meet you in person. And I hope that you enjoy the rest of this lovely evening. Thank you.